Investigate TV Plus.
The First Alert Team, the best in Georgia.
When you visit or work with Parker's Kitchen, your support makes a difference. You've helped us rank as best workplace in America. None of this happens without you.
Thank you.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12, First at 4.
Good afternoon. Welcome First at 4. Good to have you with us. I'm Richard Rogers.
And I'm Zana Halliburton. Our storm coverage continues with an update on the worst natural disaster to hit our area. At least 23 deaths in the CSRA are blamed on Hurricane Helene, including 5 young kids. The deaths span the CSRA, including Richmond, Aiken, Saluda, Washington, Columbia, and McDuffie counties. According to Aiken County Coroner, 75-year-old David Welch died Friday on Circlewood Drive off of a medical emergency because of the storm. Officials say a 52-year-old passenger, Coffee Wright, died Friday night after the car slammed into a tree that fell onto Mike Paget Highway.
Richmond County reporting a total of 5 deaths because of trees crashing into homes. 3 are dead in Saluda County from the same thing. There's also an additional death in Aiken, bringing the total there to 6. In Grovetown, leaders say a person died when a tree fell on a mobile home there.
The McDuffie County coroner confirmed 4 people died in the county. They say a 27-year-old mother and her 2 two-month-old twins died in their Thompson home. The 4th victim died in Deering and is yet to be identified. The Washington County Sheriff says 2 kids died early Friday morning when their home caught on fire on South Hospital Road. They were just 4 and 7 years old.
South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster gave another update today on recovery efforts across the state. And he also talked about the false rumors about water shutoffs in the Columbia area and why power restorations are taking so long.
Governor McMaster says they have every available unit out in the field working on different recovery efforts, from dealing with downed trees to power line work, but he says the work is slow.
Progress is slow. Again, as you know, one of the things that's slowing us down is the choke points. We got all these electrical lines down. The soil was wet. The trees went over. The winds were adequate to knock the trees down. They knocked the power lines down, so we have power lines tangled up with trees and limbs, and it is dangerous to go in and try to clear that out yourself.
Governor McMaster urged people to stay away from down power lines and to not run machines or generators inside your home.
And in Edgefield, the National Guard is hard at work helping clear debris there, but leaders say it could be days before that town gets power.
Your Will Rio joins us live. Will, walk us through what you see.
Yeah, that's right, guys. A very active scene here in the town of Edgefield at the fire department here, as crews are now taking a break. It's dinner time at this point. They've been hard at work. We've got steak and then some potatoes as well, trying to get some food in these workers who have been working around the clock. They say they've only had a few hours of sleep over the last 4 days, but I want to show you the aid that they're here passing out here this afternoon. This is the biggest thing that they want to get out. They have 22 pallets of MRE meals here from FEMA that they're willing to give out to anyone in need here. So a lot to go around. They're giving out, these are individual cases here on top of these pallets that they'll give one of those to the family. And then we have huge pallets of water back here that they're still unloading off of semi-trucks here at the fire station. So families can come down here, get 2 cases of water, and then you can come down and get a box of MREs, which are military meals here that'll last you a good bit. So we got an update on Johnston and Trenton as well. They say Johnston has lights on, so some progress there. Trenton coming along, but here in Edgefield, it's been a real struggle here for officials. They say this place was hit extremely hard. They're still working to clear some of those roads. There's very little power here at this point. They say the hospital is the only place operating not on a generator. They have power at this point, so still a lot of work left here to do. So we talked to the mayor as well. He tells us that this is worse than Hurricane Hugo at this point in terms of damage. They have never seen anything like this. I asked him what it was like coming out here on Friday morning to see all the damage, and he said, quote, God is good. They're lucky that they didn't have 12 plus deaths in the town of Edgefield from Helene when it came through the area. So much work left to do. They're handing out supplies up at Strom Thurmond High School. They say the biggest challenge is getting the word out that all of this aid is still here for a lot of people to come by. So they don't want it to go to waste. If you need food, if you need water, they say there's plenty here to come by if you need to come by and get some of that food. So crews, of course, still hard at work, and we appreciate all the work that they're doing. We're going to continue to stretch out our coverage here as we get more resources, more gas, and more cell service here at News 12 to try to branch out and get more updates for you guys on air and online as well.
So, well, I got to tell you, a couple of years ago out of Fort Eisenhower, I tried a couple of MREs, meals ready to eat. They have come a long way. They are really not bad at all. I remember you snap a bag and then all of a sudden you have a boiling pasta there that's fresh with meat in it. So I'm glad to hear they're available. They're really better than you think. And where exactly are you for people to come by and pick those up?
Yeah, Richard, we are at the Edgefield Fire Station. It's a part of the police and fire station right in the main part of downtown Edgefield. You need to come down here to get it. They're also sending it with police officers and law enforcement to Strom Thurmond High School, where they have that water and food as well. So if families need that supplies, they're working on trying to get that information out so that you know to come down here or the high school to get that. And also, they say that the water department is running on generators. They want the public to conserve that water. Inside the town, not really an issue, but people on the outskirts of the town have gone 18 hours with water at some point. So it's very important, if you need that, to come down here in the middle of downtown.
Well, the good thing is resources are available, and like Will just mentioned, they certainly don't want that to go to waste. So if you are in need, head to those locations if possible. Thank you, Will, for that.
Thanks for the update there. And yeah, if you hear the news, spread it to a friend, because there might be someone in need who needs to know about what Will's talking about there. Now, this is important for all you trying to travel in and out of Augusta. New in the last hour, if you're trying to fly in or out of Augusta, Augusta Regional Airport is in the dark right now.
That's right. They say their generator has gone out. Airport staff is currently working to repair that generator. All operations at AGS have been suspended indefinitely. So please contact your airline directly for flight changes or accommodations.
Hopefully they'll get the generator up and running and we can announce the airport is reopened. But for now, things are not looking good.
Only time will tell.
Regional. Let's check in now for a weather update. And I'm not even sure who's on the weather wall. Is it Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale?
That was the right guess there, Richard. And we are looking at a nice day outside, looking at the Savannah from Columbia County over to McDuffie County. But right now, most temps anywhere from the low to mid 60s. And we should hang into our 80s and 70s if you are going to be heading out this evening. But remember, make sure you are following those curfews. Well, much more in the rest of the week for you in just about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Riley. Here in Augusta, leaders have been working around the clock to help find a resolution for thousands without power and now limited water.
So what's the status of the situation in Augusta? Your Sydney Hood joins us live at May Park to explain. Sydney, what can you tell us?
Approved $6.3 million in debris removal services. So they say that that is just phase one of this cleanup process that they say is fully underway across the city. The mayor said that GEMA is supplying critical resources to our city like food, chainsaws, mobile kitchens, water, anything essential. I asked him specifically where we can find these resources at, and he said that they're going to be all across the city, all across the region as well. And earlier today in a press conference with Governor Kemp and other state agencies, GEMA announced that today we can actually start seeing pods throughout the city with more essential items. And I asked the mayor earlier, where exactly can we see these pods popping up in the city? He said he didn't have any exact locations right now. I just talked with him within the last hour, but he said that we can expect to see these pods throughout the town, throughout the region, really here. And then in terms of where we stand right now as a city in terms of restoring a sense of normalcy, I think that's kind of the biggest question on everyone's minds right now is where do we stand right now? Mayor Johnson told me that things are getting better by the hour. He says that he himself is getting phone calls from folks letting him know that their power is being restored. The mayor told me that earlier today the power at Diamond Lakes was restored, and he told me that potentially they're going to look to open that place up as a shelter as well. So far we have May Park and the Henry Brigham Community Center as shelters. So the mayor says he is satisfied with the progress that's being made across the city, but of course I know we've all heard patience a lot over the last several days, but he says that patience is key and that they are working to try and restore things across the city. The mayor said that if you are trapped in your home and you can't get to any of these water or food sites that are going on across the city, he says holler at a neighbor. He says that he has been out in these neighborhoods where he is seeing a lot of neighbors helping neighbors. So he says holler at your neighbor and they can hopefully get to you and get you the help that you need. And then I also asked him what the plans were to potentially open up any more food sites or water sites across the city. He said that he is meeting right now with city officials to look at potentially other places to offer water, offer food to folks in the city.
Sydney, thank you so much. So many resources coming to Augusta, and you were just speaking of that sense of normalcy. Well, right behind Sydney is a sense of normalcy. You see families and kids just out at the park.
Yeah.
Certainly, we know resources and things you can do right are limited right now with power down, but
it's nice to see a slice of normal going on back there and to hear about progress there. Sydney Hood, thanks for the live update there. Meanwhile, this historic weather event is bringing attention not only at the state level, but nationally as well.
Your Audrey Dickerber joins us live in the studio with that, Audrey.
Many officials are describing this as the worst storm Georgia has ever seen. I was out there today and just look at a lot of this damage that we saw. Trees and power lines are still down, numerous roads are still blocked, and lots of people remain without power and water. And today, Governor Brian Kemp and Senator Raphael Warnock were in Augusta to see what they could do to help. Senator Warnock was at Golden Harvest Food Bank meeting with local officials and leaders from Augusta and surrounding counties to hear their concerns and what they needed the most. Now, every single one of them say a common denominator to most of our issues is not having power, but they were also brainstorming on how to get more gas stations open and food and water into the communities. And Governor Kemp says today the Georgia Supreme Court issued a statewide judicial emergency for the next 30 days. But throughout all of this, everyone is trying to figure out how to work together to get us back to normal.
Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with all these Georgians that have lost their life, their families, and our local community. So many of our fellow citizens that are struggling out there. We know people are frustrated. We know they are tired. We know that they need power back on, need resources, and we are working 24/7 to deliver that.
Glimmer of light in the midst of this darkness is the ways in which neighbors are responding and helping other neighbors. I stopped by a small town on the way here, and was just checking on the folks at the local gas station, and they were gathered around. One gentleman was talking about the fact that he had a generator, and so he had power, and so he spent all weekend cooking for his neighbors, making sure that they have enough food and making sure that they're okay. And so I want to encourage that spirit.
And this is truly a really devastating time for our communities and many other cities around us, but it's important to help each other out in any way you can.
Definitely so, Audrey. A lot of good people coming together in a very tough time for our area. We do have the chance for a stray shower this evening and possibly again tomorrow. We'll have a look at that full forecast coming up.
Time and Temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
I think it's just vapor and...
Time and Temp, brought to you by your First Alert weather team.
I think it's just vapor and flavors. It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Clogged gutters overflow.
Get away with playing a rigged game. Call them in, it'll be game over. You win. One call, that's all.
The CSRA. It's where we were born, where we live, where we work, where we're raising our families. It's our home. That's why the people of the CSRA count on us after an accident. Because they know about our skill in the courtroom, how we treat clients like family, how we love this community, and the people who proudly call it home. We're just a call or click away. Injured? When you need me, call me. I'm your Augusta guy. 706-724-7224.
Join us at Savannah Rapids for the
Ribbon and always the best seasonal merchandise in the area. Visit carolinapottery.com or a store near you.
And I just want to take the time really quick to thank all of our first responders and everyone just out around the clock working. I want to say thank you to all of our meteorologists all over who have been keeping us safe from the storm and also what it looks like moving forward. So everyone is certainly appreciated. And to our team here in the back.
So many people are working behind the scenes that you don't ever get to see. And they're spending the night at the station, and living here basically, and running home to make sure everything's okay. And Riley's a great reminder. This is our home too.
Yes. So we are in this with you, and things will get better. Shepherd Community Blood Center is still without power at all of their donor centers. An emergency generator is keeping the blood supply safe, but it's dwindling quickly.
You know, my wife needed blood after a recent surgery. I want to thank all of you who do donate regularly, but Shepherd says they've not collected any blood since Helene hit, but they continue supplying more than 150 products to area hospitals. And while everyone is going through a very tough situation, they say your help is needed now more than ever.
What we're all going through right now is nothing compared to what the families are going through who are at the Georgia Cancer Institute or the Children's Hospital of Georgia. They still have it worse than any of us right now. And we've really got to come together as a community in order to make sure that our patients have what we need here locally. There's no one else coming to provide blood, to provide our needs. We're depending on ourselves right now.
Shepherd has 3 buses taking donations. Buses are parked at the Augusta, Evans, and Aiken centers from 8 to 4 tomorrow. One donation saves 3 local lives. And here are the addresses right here. There's the Augusta Center, that's on Wrightsboro Road. You have the Evans Center, that's on Washington Road, and the Aiken Center on Fabian Drive.
You donors are heroes. Thank you so much. People in the community are making sure no one's left behind in terms of getting to a shelter. Barnwell Elementary School will be open as an emergency shelter on Marlboro Avenue. Edgefield County Shelter, located inside the Meriwether Elementary on Springhaven Drive. They're also helping people in need from Aiken and North Augusta there as well.
Edgefield County EMA has also opened a shelter for assistance at Jet Middle School. Officials say the roads are blocked on the way there, so be careful during your route. In Augusta, you can stay cool and get necessities at May Park. The Henry Brigham Community Center is currently at capacity.
In Barnwell County, people can get a shower at First Baptist Church over on Allen Street. Transportation, they say, is provided. Plus, the YMCA plans to open locations to shower or just charge your devices, whatever you need electronically. That's going on at the Aiken County Family Y. They're open now until 5:30 this evening. And it's opening up again, 8 o'clock in the morning in case you missed it today. The centers in Barnwell County and North Augusta are open from 5 to 9. Columbia County needs volunteers to help others impacted by this storm damage.
And if you want to help out, you can call 706-312-7293. That information right here on your screen. And if you need assistance cleaning damages from Hurricane Helene, you can call the Crisis Cleanup Hotline at 844-965-1386. Groups may be able to help you with mud, trees, tarps, debris, all of those things.
And that's all coming in handy right about now. Crews are still out working to fix those traffic lights all around the region, and we have some reminders about navigating those dark intersections. So if the light is flashing red, treat that as a stop sign. If it's a flashing yellow light, proceed with caution. If you have no signal light there, and that is the case in a lot of intersections around town, that becomes a 4-way stop.
So how do you navigate a 4-way stop? Well, the first vehicle to arrive takes the right-of-way when multiple vehicles reach a 4-way stop at the same time. Always yield to the right. Straight traffic takes the right-of-way over turning traffic, and right turns take the right-of-way over left turns. Certainly good reminders because we know we are driving this on a day-to-day and having to do this.
And courtesy above all. If you need to communicate with your horn, make sure that's just to help someone avoid an accident, not frustration. We're back with more First at 4 after a quick break.
If there's a garden growing...
You're watching News 12, First at 4, continues.
Good afternoon once again. I'm Richard Rogers.
And I'm Zaina Halliburton. Thanks for joining us.
New in the last hour, if you're flying out of Augusta or into Augusta, know this. Augusta Regional Airport is in the dark right now.
Their generator has gone out. Airport staff is currently working to repair the generator. All operations at the airport have been suspended indefinitely. Please contact your airline directly for flight changes or accommodations.
Kind of the last thing people want to worry about if they're trying to get out of town to avoid all this storm situation. But Riley, that's the situation right now over at Augusta Regional Airport. We're living by generators, it seems, right now.
I know for about 90% of us, it seems like for sure. And at Bush Field, we lost our weather sensor there since they don't have power, so we don't know the official temperature right now in Augusta, but most spots are in the mid-60s. You can see it currently the rest of the week for you, just about 10 minutes.
Riley, thanks a lot. Augusta leaders have been working around the clock to help with thousands of people without power and limited water.
So what's the status of the situation right now in Augusta? Your City Hood joins us live in May Park with an update.
Today, commissioners approved $6.3 million to go towards removing debris across the city. I know that is one thing that they all say that they have heard constantly from residents. It's that they're either trapped inside their homes, they're trapped on the roads in their neighborhoods, they can't get out. So that was approved today by commissioners, and talked with Mayor Johnson earlier today, and I know we've heard the word patience throughout all of this, and he reiterated that to me to get the word out to folks that people are out working. They requested resources. I asked him specifically, where are these resources in the city? And he said that they are spread out across the city, across the region, really. And earlier today, we spoke to the GEMA director in a news conference with Governor Kemp, and GEMA says that we can today start seeing pods set up across the city with essential items like food, water, mobile kitchens. And I asked Mayor Johnson, where exactly in Augusta can we expect to see these pods set up? He said as of right now, he didn't know any exact locations. That was whenever I spoke to him about an hour or so ago, but he said that these pods would be set up across the city and across the region here. But as you mentioned, I'm live here at May Park. This is one of two shelters opened up in the city, and I was in there trying to just get a feel for things, kind of what things look like on their end. And I was talking with someone with the Red Cross, and they said that at one point they had about 196 folks staying inside this shelter. That's just 4 people away from them being at full capacity. They can only take up to 200 people, but Red Cross tells me that so far they have not reached full capacity, that right now they had some people leave, so they have about 30 to 35 spaces open up here. They say that you just walk in, do not have to bring anything on you, just bring in yourself, tell them your name, and they will escort you inside and give you a cot and a blanket. Again, this is at May Park, and then the other shelter is at the Henry Brigham Community Center. Now, in terms of where Augusta stands in terms of just completely getting back to normal, if that's even possible, the word normal, but Mayor Johnson says that he is satisfied with the progress of the city. He told me over the phone that things are getting better by the hours. He says that he is getting calls from folks letting him know that their people's power is getting restored across the city, and Mayor Johnson told me that today the power was restored at Diamond Lakes. He says that they are possibly looking at opening that up as a shelter, another shelter opportunity for folks in the city. And then I also asked him in terms of more water distribution sites and food distribution sites, because we've heard from some of you saying that you're trapped inside your home, you can't get out to get any water or any food. Mayor Johnson said if that is the case, to holler at your neighbor and have your neighbor get some help for you, or if you want to call him, call your commissioner, call any city official, that they will work to get water and food to you. So that's what Mayor Johnson told me about an hour or so ago. But I gotta say, over here at May Park, I'm kind of seeing a sense of normalcy out here, or more so hearing a sense of normalcy. You'll notice behind me, I'm standing behind a playground here, and just seeing kids laughing again and playing on the playground, that kind of gives you a little sense of hope that things are slowly moving in the sense of normal here in the city.
We should be resilient like kids are, right? During all of this, trying to get a bright side. Cindy Hood there reporting for us. Meanwhile, this historic weather event bringing in attention not just on the state level, but nationally as well.
Your Audrey Dickerber joins us live in the studio with more.
Many officials are describing this as the worst storm Georgia has ever seen. I was out there today and just look at this damage that we came across. Many trees and power lines are down, numerous roads are still blocked, and lots of people remain without power and without water. And today, Governor Brian Kemp and Senator Raphael Warnock were in Augusta to see what they could do to help. Senator Warnock was at Golden Harvest Food Bank meeting with local officials and leaders from Augusta and surrounding counties to hear their concerns and what they needed the most. Now, every single one of them say a common denominator to most of our issues is not having power. But they were also brainstorming on how to get more gas stations open and food and water into the communities. And Governor Kemp says today the Georgia Supreme Court issued a statewide judicial emergency for the next 30 days. But throughout all of this, everyone is trying to figure out how to work together to get us back to normal.
Our thoughts and prayers continue to be with all these Georgians that have lost their life, their families, and our local community. So many of our fellow citizens that are struggling out there. We know people are frustrated. We know they are tired. We know that they need power back on, need resources, and we are working 24/7 to deliver that.
Glimmer of light in the midst of this darkness is the ways in which neighbors are responding and helping other neighbors. I stopped by a small town on the way here and was just checking on the folks at the local gas station, and they were gathered around. One gentleman was talking about the fact that he had a generator, and so he had power, and so he spent all weekend cooking for his neighbors, making sure that they have enough food and making sure that they're okay. And so I want to encourage that spirit.
This is truly a really devastating time for our community and many other cities around us, but it's important to help each other out in any way you can.
Audrey, thanks so much. And as Audrey was speaking there, we couldn't help notice that historic part of Augusta, Walton Way. We really haven't seen that storm damage yet. That's some of the first time we've rolled through that street, and it's so narrow in some places.
And you know, you can't even recognize what it looks like now. That's such a beautiful spot to just trail down, and right now certainly it's a different story.
A tree-lined street, historic oak trees and massive pine trees, but the Walton Way is looking a lot different right now. Audrey, thank you for the update there. In Edgefield, the National Guard is hard at work helping clear debris, but leaders say it could be days before that town gets power.
Your Wrdw joins us live. Will, walk us through what you see there.
Yeah, guys, I want to first start out by saying that we know a lot of you guys in some of these smaller counties outside of Augusta are extremely frustrated by some of the coverage that you may be seeing. I just want you guys to know that it's about safety, it's about cell service and gas, as you all know. So we are trying as hard as we can to get to some of these smaller counties outside of our big major counties like Aiken County and Augusta as well. But we found our way to Edgefield today because we had the resources to do so. It's crazy here to see some of this damage. You take a look here. We're going to zoom out so you can see some of the damage up this road on Columbia Road right here in the town of Edgefield. Just transformers that are on the ground and power poles that have just been snapped in half. I had a chance to talk to some neighbors here up the road. They say that they have not been in contact with Dominion Energy, and no one's come over here to let them know when they can come out of the property. So this is where some of that frustration is coming from, the lack of communication on when folks may see some relief and some restoration efforts come to their area of town here. And we know it's like that everywhere, and crews are working as hard as they can. Earlier in Aiken, we saw crews out just about everywhere, but here in Edgefield, if you need any resources, the Edgefield Fire Department right there in downtown has MRE pallets. They have giant boxes there that are ready to go out to families who are in need of some of that food. They have water as well, so you can take 2 cases of water and a box of MREs if you need some of that. We had a chance to talk to the mayor and the fire chief, and they say that water has not been a major issue inside of town, but then when you start to expand outside of town, some folks have been going 18 hours with water. You talked about National Guard, Richard. They also, they're hard at work here trying to get some of those recovery efforts going. They just drove by not too long ago. So some progress being made. Again, National Guard's going by right now as I'm talking. So we'll keep you guys updated as we get more information here throughout the evening.
Yeah, we can't be everywhere, Will, but we are glad you are reporting live there from Edgefield County. We know the damage is widespread.
And it's certainly just music to your ears when you hear National Guard is right there. Will just sees them for himself right now. Will, thank you so much for that. And again, we are trying to make it out to those smaller counties as we can. Even though most of the CSRA is still without power, people in Columbia County are starting to get things back to normal.
Gradually they are, cleaning up parking lots, cutting up those tree limbs. They're doing what they can. But your Hallie Turner is live for us in Columbia County with the latest. So, Hallie, where are you and what does it look like where you are?
Now, Richard, Zana, I'm right outside of Lakeside High School, and you guys just heard Will talk about how frustrated everyone is. You know, we've heard from County Manager Scott Johnson, who says they've been tirelessly, Georgia Power has been out here tirelessly trying to get these roads cleaned up. But the problem is we've been getting a lot of Facebook messages from those that live in Columbia County saying that they haven't reached them yet. And a part of that problem is because of what you're seeing right here. All of this, before we take you live to what we've seen earlier today, I mean, this is what you're dealing with right outside of Lakeside. These back neighborhoods in Columbia County, they are just consumed with trees up in power lines right now. Even some of the ones that we wanted to show you guys earlier, we just can't take you live out there because there is no service. We're right here parked, again, outside of Lakeside. We're going to pan across over here to where this intersection is. I mean, people are having to stop and make sure that they can get by safely. It's just right now unsafe, and they're trying to get people out here. We know that thousands of Georgia Power linemen are out here But again, this intersection has gotten really busy in the last 30 minutes of people just trying to come by. But we're going to take you to some footage now from where we started earlier at Evans Town Center Park. Although, Fairfield Way and Panthers Crossing doesn't right now have some red lights working, Evans Town Center Park does. You can visibly see here, and we could even smell some of that progress today as people were working away, chipping away with their chainsaws. And just 2 days ago, those lights weren't working. Multiple trees were down, and there was zero sign of electricity out there. Monday morning, the lights around Evans Town Center were up and working, and the apartment complex, the perimeter behind the Evans Town Center Park, has power. Chili's posted they were opening their doors, and these ladies that you're going to see come across your screen sat in line just across the parking lot as men were working hard, cutting down limbs and blowing leaves away. But the effects from Helene are still being felt all across the county. As I made my way to Grovetown, all you could see were trees just in the lines, as you saw right here in Columbia, right at Lakeside. I mean, it was horrible. In some areas, you could hear chainsaws, but you really couldn't even see them. You knew something was going on, but then as we would drive by, we realized, oh my gosh, that's a house up under all of that rubbish. So again, it is really almost like a ghost town in Grovetown. Cars are moving along. Linemen can be seen working on the outskirts of town. But again, we're going to bring, as I come back up live, we're going to bring you the latest that we know around here. We've got some updates from County Manager Scott Johnson. But again, if you're out on these roadways, again, and you're in the backside of Columbia County, you want to be careful because these power lines are very much down, and there's so many trees in these small neighborhoods.
Glad to hear Hallie's actually seen a power crew because so many people haven't yet. Haven't made it to all those neighborhoods.
That's right, but certainly they're out there, they're working. I know it is a sign of relief when you do come up on an intersection that is working because for the most part, a lot of them are still down.
And take it slow through there. Hallie Turner there live for us in Columbia County. Riley?
Well, we're hitting the mid-80s across most of the area today, and we should hold steady in that mid-80s category for the rest of the weekend to the weekend. We'll also see some comfortable nights, but not too cool. We'll have that full forecast coming up next. Well, you're a couple of days, especially into the weekend. Now, by Sunday, we could bring back a little bit better rain chance, but still on the isolated side. So still mostly dry forecast over the next 7 days. Those temperatures holding steady near average.
Okay, thank you, Riley. After Helene, some people haven't been in the best of spirits. Some people are struggling after parts of their home were destroyed, their food went bad, or they just can't get cool in these temperatures. Here's what one man had to say.
We got a tree down, shingles off. All my food's going to being destroyed. I can't get no ice. I've spent half a tank of gas there trying to get ice. No ice, no. Just not good.
He's right about that. It's just not good out there right now. He did struggle to find gas at an open store, and also found some relief at a public store where he was able to get in there and at least charge his devices.
And we know there are a lot of organizations out there doing the same thing, opening their doors so people can just get some kind of relief. The big question is, how do you get help?
Your senior investigative reporter, Liz Owens, looks at how you can apply for assistance from FEMA.
Right. Well, Georgia and South Carolina have both been hit equally hard by the hurricane, but so far, right now, South Carolina is the only one approved for residents where they can apply for individual assistance through FEMA. That actually happened today. In Georgia, the governor is working on that. But both are approved to get public assistance, and that's like the groups you see out on the ground that are handing out food, water, and bringing in utility companies. But for those that are on the South Carolina side, you can go ahead and apply for that individual aid. And essentially what that covers is 3 different main aid forms. And some Georgia residents can apply for this too, but the big one is home damage, not covered under homeowners insurance. And that you also have vehicle damage. I saw a lot of trees on cars downtown on Broad Street over the weekend. So the other thing is personal property such as furniture, electronic equipment. Now the other kind of aid is emergency needs. That's food, clothing, shelter, gas, medication, medical equipment, utilities like gas, electric, water, and sewer. And it also, there's help there for home entry that have been blocked by the damage, like trees down, which we've gotten a lot of emails about that. People saying I can't get to my mom or grandmother, or I can't get out of my home. That is more the aid that is available in both states right now. Now, the third type of aid is other expenses. Now, this helps out with funeral or reburial expenses, lodging, medical equipment, and additional child and medicine and additional child care costs. It also covers the cost of cleanup tools like chainsaws and dehumidifiers. Generators are only covered in cases where medication requires refrigeration. Most of us, including myself, are dealing with property damage to our homes. If you're on the South Carolina side, again, the governor of Georgia is trying to work to get this for the residents in Georgia, because I'm literally seeing, the equal amount of damage on both sides of the river. But this individual you can apply for, but you do not want to do it until you filed a claim with your homeowner's insurance, and that's because it kind of only fills in the gaps. It covers whatever that is not covered under your insurance policy. So call your insurance company first, and the website to file for federal aid is disasterassistance.gov. Again, disasterassistance.gov, and we'll be keeping a close eye on the Georgia side to see if the president makes provides the same aid to our Georgia residents.
Liz Owens with some important advice, and we're back with more. First to Four continues after this.
The old guy.
And I approve this message.
Welcome back, folks. We're looking at our downtown Augusta cam. This is looking up Walton Way right here. You can see the CBS Goodwill, and they actually have a working traffic signal. So downtown Augusta is one of the few spots that does have power right now. Luckily, providing power to our hospitals there around the medical district. We do have a little bit of cloud cover that's going to show up tonight. We'll call it partly cloudy. That'll help keep our temperatures overnight, most likely mid-60s. We'll hang on to a good bit of cloud cover throughout the day Tuesday. That'll keep our high temps most likely low and mid-80s. Generally dry weather, not a whole lot of rain in our forecast, thankfully, over the next several days, and wind's not going to be a huge factor either. Those temps should hold steady, close to normal. Stick with us. We're going to have much more local news and weather just after a very short break.
Peachtree